morning. There we are. Hi. I went in the wrong order this morning, but that's okay. Regina, good. I'm glad you're heading out to vote. This is a good thing. Hopefully, we'll see you later. Carla, good morning from Oklahoma. 38 degrees. You know what? I am really not exactly sure what we had overnight, but it's 30 degrees out there right now. And Susie from Arlington, Virginia, good morning. Linda's from Elgin, Illinois, not too far away from me. Good morning, Linda Shaw from New York and Linda Lombardo. Good morning, guys. We're going to have to give Tippy a couple of barks this morning because that's the way she is. When I talk, she thinks we have company, whether we do or not. And to me, you are company. I'm glad you come into my home and just bear with me for an hour and hopefully we'll have some fun along the way. Jenny, good afternoon. How are you? We have today feathers, the fun, fantastic feather. Now, what I want to do is I want to just give you guys a disclaimer here. Okay? Feathers are not my strong suit. And it's not that I don't like them. I absolutely love them. And the reason they're not my strong suit is I don't practice with them enough. Okay. And when I was getting ready for this morning, I have decided I'm going to change that because I just want to become really proficient with them because they are so beautiful and there is so much that we can do with them. One of the things that I want to tell you about this morning, if you are looking for education for feathers, I am going to suggest the Feather Fantasy Sampler in the university. It is a class by Kate Quinn and is absolutely fabulous. She will teach you everything you need to know about feathers. She is very proficient with them. I love her teaching style too. She's so easy to understand and, she really takes the time to explain the whys behind what we're doing. To me, that's always important. Donna's here from North Carolina. Oh, Jenny said she agrees. She loves feathers, but she's not all that good with them either. Well, Jenny, let's challenge each other to change that, okay? Jan's here. Good morning. Um, Jan has never tried feathers. Well, then this is going to be perfect because this is going to be very, very basic. Okay. Um, let's take a look at some of our templates here. What I've got here is I have our 5-inch feather. I have a 4-inch feather, and look at all the marks I have, all the arrows I have on them. You can tell I have used them. I just need to get better with them, okay? And I'm not ashamed to tell you guys that because we can't all be proficient on everything, and it's okay. It's okay. Pick what we like the best, work the hardest at that. However, go ahead and go look at some of these other ones. And like I said, the Feather Fantasy Sampler class by Kate Quinn is a fantastic class. I did take it. I don't regret a minute of it. I refer back to it often if I'm doing feathers. Let's see who else is jumping on here. Good morning, Jean from New York. Hi, Di. Yes, Di said it correctly. I love this. Kate is the queen of feathers. I could not have put it better myself, Di. She is fantastic. Love her. And Joyce is here from Mesa, Arizona. Good morning. Our kids were here from Glendale last week and went back to Glendale. And I think they got a little bit of a culture shock when they realized how cold it gets in October up here. Okay, back to feathers. I've got a 3-inch feather and we have a 2-inch feather. What we're going to do this morning is we're going to do a straight spine, and we are also going to take a look at the 1.5-inch feather spine. Okay, I'm going to show you the markings on them and how that works. So I'm going to go ahead and set these things aside, and I'm going to take out my fabric here, which I already have marked. What I have here is this is, I believe, 5 inches total. Okay, guys, I'm not quite awake yet. Okay, Linda says, let's see. I took that class when I was first learning ruler work, but didn't like to do it again because I'm much better at feathers now. Oh, she said, "But I'd like to do it again because she's much better at feathers now." And Linda, you're right. When we purchase classes on the university, that's what's so great about them. They're ours forever. So we can go through and do those classes over again until we get to the level of proficiency that we are happy with. Isn't that awesome? I love that fact. Okay, so let's go back here. I've got a 5-inch opening here. I've got my center line drawn in at 2.5 inches. So, because I've got that 5-inch opening, I believe that my 5-inch feather is going to fit beautiful in here, isn't it? Whoops, wrong side, Corrigan. Oh, Debbie Poole's not here. Hi, Erin. Hi, Kathy. So good to have you joining us this morning. Okay, so what I want to show you is on this 5-inch opening with a 5-inch feather. If I lay my center line down on the center of my fabric here, and I check my spacing gauge right here, what's going to happen is I am going to have a perfect feather inside of here. Okay. And I am going to move one of my little stickers. There we go. Where I want this sticker is on the uppermost part of my feather, and that is right about there. Is that perfect? Well, maybe not, but you know what? It's okay. None of us are perfect, so I'm good with that. So if I start with my feather up here, I'm going to have an empty space right here. If I don't want that empty space, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this down and do a partial feather. And then I'm going to come back up. Where's my little pointer? I'm going to start here, come around, and come back up, and I'm going to stop at the highest point, and then I'm simply going to slide my template up. So let's go ahead and try that out. Now, what I've done is I'm just because I'm me, and sometimes, things are kind of crazy. Good morning, Randy. So nice that you could be here and join us from Oklahoma. Okay, so let's go ahead and give this a try. The feathers to me are not difficult to stitch. To me, it's just the fact that I want to make sure that we end up exactly where we need to be. Okay, so here we go. Foot down, needle down. Now I am outside of my seam allowance, and that's exactly where I want to be, okay? And Tippy wants to be here helping me this morning. Oh my goodness, she's such a goofball. Okay, so here I've lined everything up. Here is my center line on the center. Here is my outside border. Now, if you want to have a little bit of breathing room next to your seam allowance, you can always mark like this. Give yourself that little extra quarter of an inch, and that seems to work quite nicely. So here we go, guys. Let's do this. This is the simplest feather we can do. I'm going to take my one stitch in place. And remember, now what we're doing is we are doing a curve. And when I do curves, I like to keep those stitches a little bit shorter. You're probably sick of hearing me say that, but we may have some new people in the program this morning, and I want to make sure that everybody gets that information. Okay, there we go. Get rid of those threads. I'm going to stitch back up now, and I'm traveling. So that's why it's important not to move your template yet. And we're going to come up and stop right here at the highest point. Okay. Now I'm just simply going to take my template and I'm going to slide it up. Okay. Hi, Nick. Good to see you. Christine is here. Kim is here. Oh my gosh, look at that. Oh, thank you, Kim. All of your quilty friends, and you guys really are. Oh my God, are you? Oh, Christine, I love that. Yes, I am. I am sewing on a vintage machine. And there it is. This is my good old Singer 301. I love this machine for ruler work. It is the best machine I've ever had. I should say my husband ever had. He lost it. Okay, I'm going to turn this around now so it's easier for you to see. And again, I'm lining up these lines. Here's my center line. Here is my outside. My feather's going to stop at a quarter of an inch. Now, what would happen if I bring this in? What would happen if I bring this in is I would have a shorter feather. And when we get up a little way, we're going to do that, okay? Right now, let's just go ahead and make equal feathers. I'm going to take a look here. Where does my quarter inch come? My quarter inch is going to come right here, which tells me that the feather is going to stitch to this spot, and then I'm going to come back up to the top. Okay, make sure I'm lined up. And here we go. Take your time, nice and slow. Now I'm going to come all the way down to that spine. Even though it's not a spine yet, it will be. Now I'm going to come back up, and you can see how much stable tape I have on my feathers. It's probably a little overkill on my part, but you know, better safe than sorry, right? And now I'm going to pull this up towards me again, making sure everything is lined up. And this is really making a beautiful feather is really this easy, guys. It really is. The key is to take your time, make sure you're keeping those stitches kind of small because it is a curved line. And remember, our machines cannot sew in a curved line. They can only sew in a straight line. So if we want our curves to be perceived as nice and smooth, we have to shorten up that stitch length. So let's move it up again. What do you think so far? Are we making it? Oh, Christine says, I have a 3, a 1, and 4 featherweights, couple 99Ks, and a 15 to 125. Oh, Christine, you're a girl after my own heart. This machine that I'm on is a 301. Now, Kim says that feathers still intimidate her. Kim, practice them. Don't let them intimidate you. You've got it all over this. I know that you can do it. I know you can. If I can do it this easily, then I do believe that everyone can do it. Okay. Judy, good morning from Wisconsin. Thank you, Donna. I really appreciate that. Okay, so let's make some more. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make these feathers come in a little bit and see how that affects things, okay? And this is what I mean by practicing and playing. That's all this is. Take that, oh my gosh, why did I buy that fabric? Find a really nice contrasting thread and go for it. Sometimes what I do, and it's not that I recommend this, okay? But I have done in the past and it seems to work out okay. I'll just put a layer of fabric and a layer of batting. Now, Donnell McAdams has a great solution. She continues to just put new layers of fabric on top of her practice fabrics. Okay, if I move this up, what you can see is how beautiful these feathers have turned out. They're so nice, even. The lobes are beautifully curved. That is not me, guys. It is the template, okay? So what I'm gonna do now is I am going to go ahead and I'm gonna move this template, which should be right here to keep the same size of feathers. And I'm gonna turn this around so you can see better, okay? And move you in. There we go. Okay, wanna make sure you see real well. So what I have here is I had the center line lined up here, and I had this line, which is the third line from the left, on my seam allowance. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull myself straight up, but I am going to come in on the next line. And I'm going to line up the edge of my template with my seam allowance. Now let's take a look at how that's going to change things. And it also is going to make me determine whether I want to stay with this size feather or I want to go to a smaller one. We're going to do a couple like this, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to go to a smaller one. And so she does not try to talk to you guys again, I'm going to give Tippy one of her fall favorite peanuttier oven baked dog biscuits. Hi. Hi, Priscilla. Nice to see you. Okay, this is not how I remember seeing this in the past. Maybe it's because you're doing a straight spine instead of a curved spine. Yes, Priscilla, we're starting out with a straight spine on this one. We will get to a curved spine as well. And for those of you who have just joined us, remember Feather Fantasy Sampler by Kate Quinn is a fabulous class on the Sew Steady University. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is again, I'm using the 5-inch template, but I've got it moved over one line. And what that's going to do is it's going to make our inside just a little chunkier. I don't know why I chose that word, but it just seems to work for me. Gonna stop here with my needle down, and I'm going to, again, move everything straight up, and we're going to stitch in another one. Okay. And we're gonna do one more, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna switch sizes, okay? So down we come and back up. Remember, take your time. It's not a race. Enjoy this journey that we call ruler quilting. Okay. So what you're going to see here is how we've come in just a little bit, and we've used the same size lobe, which is this portion, and it looks fantastic. It looks just as good. What you do want to notice is that this part here, where it connects to the spine, is a little wider than it is with the lobe coming all the way out. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to pull out my 4 inch. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is again move this arrow to the tallest part of the lobe, which is going to be right about there. And this is definitely one that you can make your best estimation on. Okay. I am going back to lining up the center line of the template right here on that center line. And this particular line will line up on my pretend seam allowance. So let's take a look at what that looks like. The other thing I want to pay attention to is where is my feather going to meet up with my spine? And it's going to be right about there. And I'm real happy with that measurement. Okay, so here we go. And you'll notice the stitching path, everything is exactly the same. We're not diverting from that at all. And we're going to just come right back to the top here, needle down, slide that template right back up. Make sure you can still see. And here we go some more. And around. Hit that spine and come back up to our arrow. So this is a 4 inch template. Okay. You see how nice and smooth we're coming down in sizes. We could do one rotation of each size, and it's going to give us a real diagonal um, feel coming off of there. So that was our 4 inch. So let's try our 3 inch next. And again, I'm lining this up the same way. Whoops, what I did was I forgot to move my little arrow here. And I am going to move it to right there. Again, the highest part of my lobe. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to line this up again. Now, what is going to happen here is it's going to be from where I'm at, it's going to be kind of a shortened lobe, okay? And that's okay. It will still look pretty. And that's what we're going for is the pretty look. Come down to my spine and come back up. We'll do one more of the 3 inch. I'm going to go ahead and pull that back up. I'm lining my center line up, and this just happens to line up on the outside. And we're going to get one more 3 inch feather in here. and back up to the top. And we're gonna go ahead and stop with our needle down. Okay. What do you guys think? I think it's coming along nicely. I really do. So now let's go ahead and take the 2 inch. Where did my 2 inch go? Here it is. The 2 inch is just a little guy. I'm just gonna take one of these stickers here. Okay. If you're careful with these, they can be used again, but you do have to be careful because they do rip sometimes. Okay, so here we go. Okay, now what you're going to notice is this is actually too small to fit in there. So I have some choices. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put my 3 inch circle back on. I'm going to realign everything. I'm going to come closer to the spine, just a few stitches. Let's see how that one's going to work. That's going to work so much better. It's going to give us more of this lobe shape right here. Because before we were just too close like that, we want to get more of that. Okay, Karen, hi, nice to meet you. Kathy, you've made it in from New York. Okay, Christine, so good of you to stop in. Thank you so much. I hope we see you again. Okay, so here is our 2 inch, and this is going to come down here. Now, how am I going to finish this off? Well, we're going to make one more 2 inch feather going straight on. And then what I'm going to do is I am going to twist my template. I'm going to do it from here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to twist it so that I stay within my 1/4 inch here, but I keep my lobe here. So let's see how this is going to look. Oh, I like it. Okay, and I'm going to come back to the spine because what I'm going to do next, there we go, I'm back on that spine. So you'll see how just by twisting that template a little bit, how nicely it took and made that top nice and smooth with a partial lobe. Good morning, Cindy. Thank you for joining us. So nice of you to be here. We really appreciate it. So now what I want to do is I want to come down to the bottom. And I'm just going to use this particular ruler because I happen to have it handy. Okay, and here we go. Our goal is to catch each one of the edges of these feathers or as close as possible. So we might have to do some fudging along the way. Don't worry about that. Nobody's going to notice it. And if they get that close to your quilt, well, you can always tell them, step back, my quilt. Okay, here we go. I'm going to check a couple more here as we come down. And nice and easy. Always leave your needle in when you're taking your hands off of the fabric or off of the template. That's really important. Otherwise, you can end up in the next county, and that's never a good thing. Okay, so there we go. Now to make the other side, we're simply going to reverse the process. Everything still lines up exactly the same way. And what do you think? I think it's looking pretty good. Now, if I wanted to also, I could have moved the second rotation of these templates in a little bit. What I want to do on this part is I want to show you what will happen, how it will look if we do only one rotation of each size. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move my little arrow up to the highest point, my lobe, and I am going to go ahead, whoops, that's where I want to be, and I am going to make a partial here. All right. So I'm going to come in here, pull that bobbin thread up, and you all know why we do that, right? We do that so that we don't end up with thread nests on the back because most of the time we're doing quilt as you go. And so what we want is to keep the back of this piece looking as pretty as the front. Okay, gonna go ahead and realign myself here. And this is going to be our partial feather. There we go. Oh, awesome. If it's not exactly the same size as the other side, it's okay. And now we're just going to come back up to the top. I'm going to go ahead and move my template up. This is going to be my first full 5-inch feather, okay, on the left side. Now, this is a good time to point this out. As I move up and keep everything lined up, what you're going to notice is this feather and this feather that we're going to stitch are not going to meet right here. If that's important to you, I would suggest not putting the partial feather in at the bottom because it would be easier to line up. But if you want to put the partial feather in the bottom and still line up, you can do that. And you can do that by just tipping your feather a little bit until you're going to meet right here. Okay? It's not going to change the look of the feather. It's just going to make it meet right there. So let's go ahead and stitch that one out all the way around. And we should meet up with the on the previous side. Oh my gosh, it's perfect. No, that doesn't happen to me that often, you guys. Trust me. Okay, so there we go. And we met up perfectly here. And that is how you're going to want to go if you're going to make it, if you really want it to meet perfectly right here. I personally think eh, as far as looks go, it's six of one, half dozen of the other. Hi, Di. I don't know if I said good morning to you or not. Patsy's here from New Mexico. Good morning. Linda's here too. Hi, Linda. Thank you for joining us. So, if it's important to you, go ahead and do it that way. You saw how I just did that. If it's not that important to you, don't worry about it. Okay? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my 4-inch feather and I'm going to go ahead, oops, I'm going to move my little sticker. You can tell I've used these stickers for quite a while. And then I'm going to get a little dab of caffeine in me. Oh, need that in the morning, don't we? Okay, Now this one I am lining up exactly the same. Here's my center line. I'm lining the outside line out. This one, doing it this way makes me think of a Christmas tree. We'll see after I get it done if it looks like it could be used as a Christmas tree. Okay? Now we're using different sizes, so these templates will not match up. That's okay. Back to the top, needle down. There's my 4-inch. Now we're going to take our 3-inch. I think I just bumped you. I apologize. I hate doing that. Okay, line myself up. Here's the 3-inch. Kind of reminds me of those little rings that our children had where they put them on the post and the toy. All those bright color, pretty rings. And we're going to stop here. That was the 3-inch. And here is the 2-inch. Now this 2-inch, we may have to come back a stitch or two to make it fit. It was just one little stitch, and I'm lining the center line up. Okay, we're looking good, guys. We're looking real good. All righty. So now what we want to do is we still want to finish up in here. This is actually very pretty. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my spacing gauge. I want to wind up above this rotation line here. All right. And I want to make sure that I don't go over the center spine. So I am going to keep tweaking my template until I get it where I want it. And that's exactly where I want it, right there. Now, if I were doing this on both sides, what I may opt to do is come back up here and put one last lobe on this way and have it actually stitched from one side to the other. And we're just going to pretend that other side is there. And that's going to finish it off beautifully. Isn't that pretty? Oh my gosh. Turn that around, put that in a triangle. That's absolutely lovely. And you see how easy it was? It really was not difficult to do. But it's just beautiful. I love that. Lee, good morning from Indiana. Ken's here from Illinois. Kelly, hi. Okay, what do you guys think? Are we doing good so far with feathers? Are you thinking you might want to try some of these ideas? Let's pull out those feathers and have some fun, right? Okay, so that is just a straight feather, and you can see how easy it is. I'm going to say it again for you guys that are new here. If you want the quintessential feather instruction, Feather Fantasies Sampler by Kate Quinn on the Sew Steady University is definitely a class you want to take. Kate is, somebody said it earlier, Kate's the queen of feathers. She is so good at them, and she is so good at explaining them. Suzanne, thank you, Suzanne. Okay, so that's our straight spine. Let's go ahead and do a little bit of a curved spine. And this is kind of a long curved spine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and I am going to start and just draw it, I mean, stitch it in. I'm sorry. I'm lining this line and this line. Whoops, this line and this line on the center of my feather block, okay? I should explain the block measurements. Let's take the ruler out and take a look. It again is 5 inches from outside to outside, but I want a quarter of an inch breathing space. Okay, so my spine, my first line that I'm going to use to line up my spine is 2.5 inches. And what I did was I used my chalk liner with this. So as soon as we get the spine stitched in, I'm going to go ahead and remove that line so we don't get mixed up while we're working on it. So, oops, there we go. And we're going to come down like this. Now, if you don't have the 1.5 inch spine template, it's okay. You can use your 12-inch arc and you make S curves with that as well. Okay, and here we go. Just gonna take it nice and easy. And I can go ahead and let go of those strings of those tails of thread. Now, when you're working with arcs and you want to keep your stitches a little smaller, I think it's beneficial to keep all of the stitches in the design the same size. In other words, if you have some areas that are straight stitching, I wouldn't change the size of the stitches. I would keep them consistent. I really believe in consistency being the key to something that's really pretty. Okay, coming down, coming down. Listen to the sound of your machine. You're going to know if you're making nice even stitches simply by listening to your machine. Did you know that? Okay, there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and break thread here. Do we have to? No, not really, but I want to. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to take this center line out. And because I used a chalk liner and the incredible chalk, there we go. You see, now it's gone. So what really is nice is we're not gonna get confused by two lines being there. It is the ultimate pounds powder inside of a chalk liner. I take the chalk liner, dump it out, and actually end up with the Ultimate Pond's powder in it. Anne asks, which is my favorite featherweight? I only have one type, Anne, and it is the 221s. I would love to get a 222, but it's just a little bit pricey for my budget. What this is, Donna, is do you remember those old, lint brushes that our dads used to use? That's what this is. It's just an old lint brush, and, yeah, you can still find them. Actually, I think that and I shouldn't maybe name names of stores, I don't know, but I did find some at Dollar Tree. Okay. So, yeah, they work really well, and it gets rid of that powder when you're done with it, and you don't have to get up and go to the iron. What's really nice is if you have some things that you want the markings gone and others that you wanna keep on your fabric. Okay, let's talk about the curve, the dreaded curve. In order to do the curve, what we need to do is take a look at the different size templates and audition them, okay? First off, I know a 5 is not gonna fit in there, all right? A 5 is gonna come whoops. Hey, guys, I dropped something, surprise. It's gonna come way out here. and we don't want it way out there. So let's put the 5 aside for now. So let's try the 4 and see how the 4 works. Again, it's going to be way outside. If I move it into here, what's going to happen, I'm afraid, is that this is going to stitch in here and be really chunky. It's not going to give that nice smooth line meeting the template that I'm looking for. However, I can move it. I can twist it and get it exactly where I want it. Okay. So that's my 4-inch, and that's what I'm going to start with. And then we're going to straighten it out as we go along. Okay. Again, this is going to be a partial. I need to make sure that I start, there we go. I've got my 1/4 inch, I want to start below my seam line. I've got my 1/4 inch mark right there. Pull my thread up. Uh, I could have gone down farther. If it was a true project, I probably would have, but you don't want me wasting time to pull this out and do it over. So here we go. And we're going to come all the way around, and we're going to come all the way down, and I'm going to come back to that widest point. Now, because I've twisted this template, that arrow is no longer my widest point. It's off to the right just a little tiny bit. No worries. Okay, so this one now, I see that I can fit the 4-inch very nicely in there. I'm going to get this out of the way, guys, so you can see better. Hi, Sandy. Oh, yay. Finally. I am so glad. I hope it wasn't too awful. Okay. Lee said she got one of those lint brushes in her beginner set of Clancy's Ultimate Power a couple of years ago. Yeah, and that's where I got my first. Actually, that's where I got the one that I'm using today. So Sandy was in Hurricane Milton. I'm so happy to see you. Hopefully, things weren't too bad. And yeah, our thoughts and prayers are with you, Sandy, and everyone else who has been affected by these awful chain of events. Jean is here from Mount Vernon, Washington. Good morning, Jean. It's kind of early for you out there. I know. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this up. I'm going to use the same size, and I'm going to take a look. I want to make sure that I just brush that outside, and I'm going to see where it comes in on the inside. And if you hold your spacing gauge, you will see it's going to meet right here. Okay, so whoops, now I got everything kind of cattywampus here. Okay, we'll try this again. There we go. Now this time I've kind of straightened it up a little bit. And we're going to come around, come back down on, meet that spine, and we're going to come back up, and we're going to stop at our arrow. Okay, I'm going to move my template up, and I'm going to check again that I can meet here and still meet here without going too far towards the bottom of the template. And I can do this one more time for sure, maybe two, depends on how I slide my template up. And these, oh, perfect. These fill up this space so pretty. It's absolutely amazing. I'm gonna stop again on my arrow. I'm going to slide it up. Now, what you're gonna see is when I put my spacing gauge on here, do you see how low it's going on that template? I don't want to go that low on the template because what might happen is I could fall off of it, okay? So what I can do, just to keep myself with this 4-inch one more time, nope, that's not gonna work. Now I need to switch over to my 5-inch, okay? So now when I line up my 5-inch, you'll see how chunky that is. And I don't want this to end up way up there. So I, again, am going to use my prerogative and I am going to just go ahead and twist that template a little bit. Doesn't need to be much, just a little. And we're going to go ahead and make the next low. Again, it touches the same spot on the outside margin, and it gives the same look as it's coming in to the spine, which is a really good thing. Okay, we're going to stop at the arrow. Now I'm going to move my template up. And now what I might want to do is straighten it out just a hair, not a whole lot, but just a hair, okay? And we're gonna make another rotation. Nice and slow, nice and steady. We're gonna come down to that spine. Now that's a little further than I really want it, but it works just fine. Okay, back up to that big piece. Okay, now I can come up, and what's going to happen here is this is going to have to turn. Oh, I'm sorry, it does not have to turn. That was earlier back here. What's going to happen is I'm going to come too far on here. This is not going to fit, okay? But what I can do is put a small one in here and then come back with the larger one. So let me get a small one here. And this is going to be 3-inch. Nope, 3-inch is going to be way too small. Probably feel like the Goldilocks and the Three Bears here. Here we go. This one is going to work nicely. I'm going to pull that in. No, actually, it's not, guys. I'm going to have to figure out this number 5, okay? I'm going to line it up straight. And let's see what we need to do when we get down here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to come around. I'm going to move it down just a hair. And that's going to give me the room that I need. I'm going to come back up here and move it back to my original lines. And stitch back up to my arrow. Okay, down we go. Now, what am I going to do on this one? I think on this one, what I'm going to do is go ahead and let this area be a little chunkier. And I'm just going to twist the template a little bit. And we're going to do one more here. And come down to the spine, and you're gonna see I'm actually gonna overshoot it, so I'm just gonna do this one more time and come back up. Now I'm going to replace this template where it needs to be. It's gonna be right there and travel up. Now the next one's gonna be a little more chunky for us, but that's okay. Whoops, I got off a little bit. Okay, so this time I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to twist this template and I'm going to be stopping here, right there. And around we're gonna go. Oh, I just came off my template a little bit. It's okay, it's practice. That happens when we practice, and that's perfectly okay. Now, that arrow is not where I want to stop. I want to stop on the largest globe that I have, which is right there. So now I am going to be lining this up really nice and straight. And that is where my, whoops, no, let's go over here. Okay. So this is where my feather is going to end. I don't want it to end way up here. I really don't. So let's take this one off and check out our 4" and see what's going to happen with that. Well, we would have to turn it just a little bit, and I'm okay with that. And that's exactly where I want this to end up. So here we go. And whoops, I did it again, guys. You know what happens? When I take my eyes off of that template, I come off of it every time. Okay, we're gonna stop right there. I'm gonna straighten it out some and make one more. Come down. And now we're gonna come back up to that fattest point on our lobe. And let me see if we can get, oh gosh, that's the end of it. Okay. So how am I going to end this up at the top? Well, I think what I'm going to do is come right down in here. I turned my template, just twisted it, around, and hopefully, yeah, close enough. I'm going to end up right where I want to there. Okay. So there we go with a curved line. Okay. Thank you, Agnes from Northeast Pennsylvania. So nice to see you. Vanna, 34 in Oklahoma. Yeah, it's cold here too. Cindy asks, which singer am I using? I am using the Singer 301. And that should be it. That's my baby. I use it for all my ruler work as a rule. I do have another machine. It is a modern machine that I do use occasionally. Okay. So there we have a curved. Now to go on the other side of that, what we're going to do is we're going to just use the smaller sizes here and the bigger sizes at the bottom. So basically, it's just the process is just simply reversed. So let's go ahead and get that 5" out. There it is. And let's take a look. We're going to go ahead and put that first partial in there. And I think I like it right about there. I might even move it over. Do you see how easy it is to kind of smush these feathers around and make them be where you want them to be? It's, you know what? Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Linda has a pup sticker on her machine also. Yeah, that is my baby. My sweet little Tippy who likes to talk to us when we're recording or going live, but she's a good girl. Um, these tablets, back to that, are so easy to maneuver. And we can put them in so many different variations. You know, the round ones, Nan has a fabulous, fabulous round table topper with the feathers. And she's got that class on the university. Definitely go for it. Let me find the name of it. Nan, I know you're here. If you could quickly tell us the name of that class, I would appreciate it because it's a fantastic class, guys. You will not be sorry. Yeah, take a look. It is called Octagon Circle by Nan Pan. So if you get the chance, take that class. Hi, Christine. Good to have you back. I'm glad you made it. Nan is actually baking a banana cake right now. I hope you have enough to share, Nan. That's all I have to say about that. Okay. All righty. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to start way at the bottom here below my seam line. We're going to have time to do a few, but not as many as I was hoping for. This time goes way too quickly, guys, way too quickly. Okay, and I have a young man coming to see me shortly. He is my great grandson, and I get to spend a little time with him this morning. And that's always good time. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, ooh, back it up. I went too far. I want to stop at the highest point on my lobe right there. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look and see what I have to do to come in with the 5 inch because I want to come in and hit that lobe. And this is going to be the biggest feather that I need to put in here. So I'm going to go ahead and twist until I get that 1/4 inch exactly where I want it, which is going to be right there. It will work great right there. And I'm going to put, I almost didn't move my template up. Now I think I can go ahead and move this a little over. Yeah, there we go. That'll be great. That'll be great. I'm also watching the left side to make sure that I'm staying where I want within my seam allowance. And we're going to come around, meet our spine, and take that 1 stitch in place, then come back to the largest part of our lobe. And we're going to stop right there with our needle down. Now we can move ourselves up and we have the option. We can keep the inside portion here just a little bit larger by twisting the template, or we can go a little smaller, and I'm going to go just a little smaller here. And then I'm going to switch over to my 4-inch feather. Now, from what you're seeing this morning, I hope that you understand that these are not that difficult. They really aren't. I hope if you came into this morning being intimidated by feathers, I hope we have been able to alleviate those intimidation fears. Okay. And again, I can't stress this enough. The Octagon by Nan Pan has feathers in it. We have Kate's complete feathered class, the Queen of Feathers, Kate Quinn with the Feather Fantasy Sampler. That is one great class for learning feathers. We're going to go up one more time. Now, this time you'll see I have this actually squared off, and that's going to put everything where I want it, I think. And I'm going to go ahead and twist just a little bit there, but not nearly as much as I was. Here we go. Come back to the center and back out. You know what? After this morning, guys, I need to do more feathers. I know that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and switch now to numbers by 3 inch because I can. Can't I? Yes, I certainly can. And look at what's going to happen. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to go ahead and twist it a little bit. And off we go, keeping that outside a 1/4 inch away from the seam allowance so that we've got extra room. Don't worry if these aren't exactly the same. You know, I heard a long time ago, there's such a thing as formal feathers and informal feathers. I never knew that. And, quite honestly, to this day, I still don't understand what the difference is. However, there are women out there who know, and I envy you because you have knowledge that I hope you'll share with the rest of us. You know, that's the one thing that's so awesome about So Steady. They allow us to come in here into your homes, 'cause that's what you're doing. You really are inviting us into your home, and we're able to offer this education. And you can take what you want, use what you need, and if you don't find value in something, no worries. Just do it your way because we all have our own way, don't we? And we're going to come down. And we're gonna stop there for this morning, okay? I think you got it now. I know I feel a whole lot better. I was worried about this morning, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was hoping I wasn't gonna totally mess everything up. But one of the girls said something about feathers last week, so I said, "Well, then let's do them," you know? So here is our curved spine. Here is our straight spine. And here's our little Christmas tree or the beautiful triangle motif. Good morning, Maureen from Kansas. Okay, quilt store that carries the ruler. Oh, thank you, Linda. Oh, Nana's put a link to her class. Thank you so much, Nan. I appreciate that. I actually don't know how to put a link to Kate's class. I wish I did. Go to So Steady. Here, I can do this. SoSteady.com and click on the education tab, education tab, go to university on the drop down list. And you can find Kate's class, and it is called Feather Fantasy Sampler. There we go. Okay. Lee helped us. She said the formal feathers are very uninformed. The informal ones are random sizes and just as beautiful. Thank you, Lee. I appreciate that because I was unclear as to how that works. Yeah. Learn something new every day, don't we? I love it. Okay, so what else have we got here? Oh, Kim, thank you. Oh, geez, I really appreciate that. I do. Oh, yeah, I figured it was in, yeah. I got you, Lee. So, I'm glad that you've enjoyed this. Now, next week, where did we put that? Oh, I had the slip from last night. I can't find it. Oh, there it is. So next, oh yeah, clamshells too. Next Tuesday evening, we're going to do clamshells. And have I got some stuff for you guys with clamshells? I love clamshells. Okay. And we're going to do some real fun things. You're going to see some of the things I've done in the past. You're going to see one piece of one section of my clamshells is one that I actually wanted to do a class on, but just everything gets so busy, you know? You know how it is. Linda, you're quite welcome. Di, oh, thank you. I'm glad you find this a good way to start your day. I like that. So don't forget, um, Kim loves clamshells too. Oh, that's awesome, Kim. Don't forget, like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. If you need to get a hold of me, go to sosteady.com under the education tab, and you'll see instructors. When you see my face, you can go ahead and click on it if you dare, and it will give you all of my contact information. So don't be afraid to get a hold of me if you need anything. And while you're there, it would be greatly appreciated if you leave me a comment. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what you want to see. Those comments are really important to us for several reasons, but the most important reason is they keep giving us inspiration to keep going for you guys. This is as much for me as it is for you. I love doing it. So you are welcome, Lee. And we will be here next Wednesday morning as well. And until then, let's quilt.